Everything's different. Okay. But it's still not good enough. I'm still a bad person. I'm still doing the wrong things. I'm still e-begging. I'm still rage quitting. The bar will never stop being moved.
So after creating an entire stream with the sole purpose being to shame his audience for not giving him money, Phil thought it was within his best interest to continue to lambaste his audience for the lack of support throughout the year's playthroughs the following day. Just going to show that this ungrateful attitude was not by accident, but instead intent, which makes it all the sweeter when, in the middle of his boardroom meeting, he gets derailed by some know-it-all psychopathic troll who, rightfully, brings up concerns about the impacts that whales, like Iron Dent Sakai, have on the content. Or at least I think that's what happened, because as is often the case with DSP, he loves to fly off the handle and rant about a comment no one but him seems to have seen, which makes for a very strange viewing experience, but I digress. That is where we're starting for today.
Here's the funny part, because if you guys haven't noticed this morning, and this has also been going around, it's all detractor shit. If these people think I'm dumb or something. So here's the new thing. Well, Phil, you're a bunch of whales, and these whales come by every day and they support you. So you should just let them dictate everything you do, because then obviously you'll stay in business, right? And here's the funny part about that. If you have an issue with people who like my content and come by and support it, all right? Number one, I know you're jealous. It's just the truth. You're a jealous motherfucker who wishes that you had someone who liked you and your content and would actually come support you. That's the only reason you have an issue with someone coming by and being a big supporter of my content. That's number one. Okay.
And immediately he's hostile. He couldn't, for 1 second, genuinely address the topic publicly on his stream. He immediately had to make it about jealousy rather than the real matter at hand, which is whales controlling the content. Let me make this clear, no one is jealous of DSP, or rather, no one should be. He has nothing to his name, he owns nothing, he has no talent or skill, his reputation is abysmal, his personal life, from the looks of it, is non-existent, and the only thing he'll leave behind is a vast catalog of gameplay that no one will ever want to see again. The best thing that he has going for him is the fact that some weirdo out there has enough disposable income to come play Puppet Master every so often over with the failing channel that is DSP Space Gaming. But this is always how DSP deflects criticism. He's the 16-year content creator. Obviously, he is doing something correct, and it's in fact everyone else who is jealous of his fallen gaming commentary empire. Give me a break.
Number two, then if that's the case, then why don't you contribute too? Think about this, right? If the issue is that there's a bunch of people who come by every day and they support, but it's only a small group of people, well, then don't you think that if others supported, then it would negate that? Instead of sitting around and whining and complaining and saying, oh, I'm so upset that just a small group of people support Phil, then if you came by every day and you said, well, you know, I'd like you to do something different than what you're doing, and here's $5, to show you that there's effort towards that we would actually support other things than just the things that your whales come by to support, right? Then maybe it would change that. But instead, people just sit around whining. Like, these people on the internet are unbelievable. I swear, these are the most miserable people. They can't be happy for anyone. They can't enjoy anything. Instead, it's just how everything around them is wrong and unfair and, oh, deride it for this, bring it down for this, tear it down for this.
Keep in mind, this is in part meant for his fans. Obviously, it's also meant for detractors, but these are concerns his genuine viewers have communicated with him time and time again, and it's not without merit. The way that he has it structured now, those with enough money can determine on a stream-to-stream basis what games DSP determines are and aren't successful. And DSP's solution to this genuine concern is just fork over more cash, stupid. The whales would have less say if you bit the bullet yourself, which really is just a disgusting mentality to have towards your audience. This guy sits here in this cramped little bedroom every day and can pay his bills purely through the grace of others. And he has the audacity to demand free viewers pony up to see change this way. It's exactly this type of behavior that makes so many people wish for his comeuppance. Even if the dents do deserve to get scammed for being this stupid, I think that most decent people would be disgusted by hearing anyone talk to someone else like this.
Nothing has a point. There's no point. Even if I have 5,000 people today who give me $1, or if one person gave me $5,000, it doesn't matter. You understand that? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how we get there. It's that you get there. And then what content you put out in the meantime, is it fun? Is it entertaining? Is it positive? Right? That's what matters. As long as I'm working and putting out good content and I got people coming by and supporting me, I don't care how we get there. Now, if you have an issue with the way that we got there, then change it. You change it, not me. I can't change it. I can't make people come to my stream and contribute.
This is him acknowledging that he is a puppet to those who give him money. He just said as long as he's playing games and hitting the support goals, he doesn't matter how it gets done. The money could come from 100 people, it could come from 2, and he couldn't care less either way. Now, I don't think that I need to explain just how poor of an idea that is for the prosperity of the content. Obviously, curtailing your entire channel around a handful of people is a bad idea. So instead I have to ask, how can he justify this but not sponsorships? Either way, he's beholden to one person or another. Is he really so opposed to an affiliate code that he'd rather tiptoe and tailor his entire schedule to the taste of this handful of people at best? And please remember, this is all DSP is gonna leave behind. His legacy is his content, and as it stands now, it's entirely at the whim of whoever these whales are and what they want. And we've seen this play out in the past, and it always goes awry. So how has he once again found himself in the exact same position?
As crazy as this sounds, all right, because some people actually think that I am some kind of like a crazy mind-washing cult leader. I don't brainwash people to contribute to me. That's never happened, okay? Never. People come and contribute because they like the content, because they like me. That's why they're here to support. If it's 5 people today who majorly contribute and I hit my goals, or if it's 50 people today who contribute and I hit my goals, I still hit my goals. I can't make a certain person show up and contribute or not contribute. So the fact that anyone tries to hold that against me as a fact of like, oh, you're failing or you're doing well, none of that makes any sense. You're a moron. And no one should have issue with that either. Who cares? Who's contributing, who's not contributing? How does this have anything to do with me or anyone's power? It doesn't. Like, and why is it your business? You know, when anyone who's a successful streamer, does everyone go and look at all of their finances to see who specifically contributed what and how many? No, only me. Because again, hyper-focused, over-obsessed people, no lives, no jobs, no anything going for them, just sitting around on the internet being toxic all day. Okay?
He asked why does it matter to other people who's giving him money? Because they think you're manipulating and scamming the weak and simple-minded, that's why. Would he have the same attitude if it came to internet scammers and the elderly? Who cares the elderly get scammed? It's none of your business, stupid. That kind of logic just doesn't make any sense when applied to anything else in life. I do love the little "what was me" segment there though. Does this happen to anyone else? Nope, just me. While I find it hard to believe that only DSP is being tip-tracked, even if that was the case, he very much deserves to be. When he makes a large portion of his money crying poor, knowing how much he makes when he makes it and who he makes it from can paint a very clear picture of his obvious lies, and that's the only reason it ever had to be done in the first place. It's because he lied.
It's fucked up. And I have to deal with that every day. So it's the funny part. Like, if you have an issue, well, man, the same 5 people come and support Phil every day. Then why aren't you? If you like the content, why don't you support content you want to see? Say, hey, Phil, I would love and I would support this other game you're not playing right now. Please consider it, you know, and then contribute. And then maybe other people would say, wait, that's true. I want that too. And then we could do other stuff, right? But I mean, again, it's called business. I am not a big time dude. I don't get hundreds of thousands of views a day. I don't get 1,000 viewers on stream a day. I don't have the ability to just do whatever I want and the flexibility to do whatever I want. I have to play what people want so people will support. That's called business. I'm a small business owner. Do you get it?
See, and that's the problem. He keeps seeing this strictly as business. He's completely lost the original plot that was YouTube. Genuine content made by real people that you can watch anywhere with no expense required. YouTube has definitely changed a lot since he started, but his appreciation for his audience and the content that he makes didn't have to as well. He was clearly consumed by his greed and inability to move on long ago. I can't imagine there's a large audience of people willing to listen to a stunted 42-year-old man complain about the world and video games day in and day out, and with an attitude this bad, that already small number can only be growing smaller.
I'm not a ginormous million sub YouTuber who went viral. I'm a small time dude, and I'm happy with that. But that's very different. And I'm tired of these morons who think that they know everything who know nothing, or because if they knew anything, they'd be successful YouTubers. And they're not. So instead, they just sit there and they're miserable that someone would come by and support me, right? So anyway, can we get back on topic now instead of listening to morons? That would be great.
Spoiler, we did not get back on topic and stop talking about morons. We actually returned to the topic just a few moments later.
This I completely understand. I can't contribute publicly because your detractors spam my old YouTube channel, and so I had to delete it. Yeah, and I'm sorry to say, this is the problem with being mass harassed and stuff like that. Like, it's funny because people say to me, well, Phil, the reason that that you're not a big YouTuber is because you don't just play whatever you want. Well, I can't play whatever I want because then I don't get support, right? I have to play what people want. Oh, well, then, you should just become mainstream popular and then you can play whatever you want. What? What are you even talking about?
I was actually thinking the same thing. Who is just telling him to be popular? Because that person is as stupid as DSP is, if they even exist. I doubt they do though. What I often hear people say is that DSP should take a page out of the book of more popular creators out there and, actually develop a personality that people like and have commentary that people can relate to or find interesting. That's what I hear other people saying, because that's how you get into a position to play whatever game you want whenever you want to. When people show up for the personality instead of the game, you're always going to have an audience. Now, some people aren't meant for that. They don't have the natural charisma or entertainment value. They only succeed in a niche area or on topics, and that's fine. But if that's the case, don't be like DSP. Don't bet everything that you have on a skill that you don't. And the writing on the wall for him was there well before he ever moved to Washington. The internet was growing tired of his shtick, but instead of developing and growing his craft, he decided to stagnate and flounder for years while suckers bought into his pitiful retelling of history and kept him afloat.
How could I ever become mainstream popular? There's literally a group of people who are so unhinged, who are so antisocial, they are sociopaths, that if someone just happens to find me in my content, a newcomer, and they come to the channel and they say, hey, I'm gonna hang out for a few days, and they do, these people then stalk them. They go to their social media. They go to their YouTube page. They go to everything. They leave nasty comments. They fucking do everything they can to harass them. Does that have anything to do with me? No. That has to do with a bunch of obsessed, crazy people. And so you should just become more popular. How would I do that exactly? When anyone who's new even shows up and shows a tiny piece of positivity, they get harassed by crazy people. So how could I do anything to fix that situation exactly?
I'll be honest, there isn't anything that DSP can do to stop his trolls from looking into the pay pigs. There just isn't. The real solution is actually in the hands of the dents themselves, and all they have to do is not be weirdos. I'm sure there are many normal, for lack of a better word, people out there who have enjoyed DSP's content and even maybe thrown him money, which I cannot condone. Please don't ever give the roach money. But these return viewers, the people who enjoy his content enough to come back over and over, his regulars, they all seem to be so unwell mentally. Why is it that every time information comes out about these people, they have some sort of disability, sick fetish, or financial literacy equal to Phil himself? Why is it always these outcasts and dregs of society that flock to DSP and get taken advantage of in this way? With a character as interesting as DSP is, you have to wonder what types of people choose to legitimately follow him, and it seems that those people actually tend to be just as odd themselves.
You have to understand, it doesn't matter how much I change for the better. It doesn't matter, how much, I listen to feedback. It's never good enough for crazy people. You get it? Like, let's look at me now compared to a few years ago. A few years ago where my setup sucked. I was constantly complaining that I was broke and all this kind of shit. Now, everything's different. Okay? But it's still not good enough. I'm still a bad person. I'm still doing the wrong things. I'm still e-begging. I'm still rage quitting. The bar will never stop being moved.
It's almost as if he was lacking in every department of his life, and no one is willing to celebrate him for rising to the standard that all of his peers have already set around him. It is incredibly funny to me how he said everything has been improving on my streams as far as the equipment is concerned, but it doesn't matter because they say I'm a bad person. Yeah, dipshit, it's almost like getting a new mic, camera, background foam, and 2 PCs doesn't make you any more likable. It's almost as if none of those things can fix your shitty attitude and general lack of charisma. I know he really wants people to celebrate with him all of his new toys and his superficial upgrades to his stream, but the real issue has always been him, and it always will be.
All right. So this is pretty messed up that there's people who just want to come by and discover me and be like, oh, this is good stuff. Let's hang out. And then it gets ruined by these mentally ill people. But that's the point I'm making. What it is with these people is they've created a vicious cycle. They realize that if they sit around and create toxicity around me, then the content gets made. They make money on it. Then I can't become a bigger content creator because anyone who comes by to hang out with me and enjoy my stuff gets harassed by people on the internet because there's a ton of content out there that says I'm a bad person. Even though it's all slanderous and defamatory and false, doesn't matter because it's a vicious cycle. As long as they keep making me look like a horrible person, they make money, they get popularity, and then more people believe it, and then more people harass my viewers and fans, and the cycle continues.
No one has to make DSP look bad. He does a well enough job of that on his own, and if Phil had any ounce of honesty in his body, he would be willing to admit that almost none of his detractors actually see any money from trolling him. Sure, some people get paid, some people do art or make music or make videos, but most of them don't, statistically. Yet this is his favorite narrative to push when it comes to the detractors, because it's all projection. You might as well just save everybody the time and say no you anytime someone says something negative to him and move on at this point, because that's all he's doing.
It's pretty fucked up. Yeah, and I see now people are talking about it in chat, you know, relative newcomers, people who the last few months have been very supportive and they've all been harassed. It's like, so what did I do to deserve that? What did they do to deserve that? We didn't do anything. We sit here in our lane, hanging out, having a good time, and not bothering anyone, right? Keemstar said it himself, you know, talking about review tech and how crazy obsessed he is with me and stuff, right? And he said it his best. He's like, listen, you don't have to love DSP or whatever, but he doesn't bother anyone. So why would you ever care? Why would you harass him? Why would you make fun of him? No one, you know, he doesn't do nothing. He just sits around and makes his content for his audience. So why would you even bother with the guy? Why would you be obsessed with him? He's right. Keemstar is right. There's no reason for anyone to care except those who like my content. That's it. If you don't like me and my content, I'm not harming anyone. I'm not going out of my way to hurt people. You know, I'm not recruiting armies of children and corrupting them. So what is your problem with me?
Now, I can only speak for myself, and my interest in DSP really just boils down to him being so damn strange. I want to compare it to going to the circuses of old, or present. I've never been to a circus, but you could go and gawk at the odd and peculiar people. Watching DSP on a regular basis is interesting because you can see in his actions just how disconnected he is from the world, and the longer you watch, the more pieces you can see fitting into place. And with every piece, you can see how some of these weird things that he does are connected. And it just so happens that there are other people on the internet who also like to keep up with and laugh at the internet clown that is DSP. So I don't really care if Keemstar doesn't understand why people watch DSP. I'm not Boogie. I don't take orders from Keem.
Yeah, listen, Copeem says, imagine tracking someone down at their place of business and yelling at them because earlier in the day they bought a ham sandwich somewhere. Who cares? You're right. You're absolutely right. Like, think of it this way. Actually, this would probably be a real life example. Let's say for some reason you're very anti-Christian. This is just a hypothetical. Let's say you're very anti-Christian. So you sit outside of the local Chick-fil-A because you know that Chick-fil-A is owned by Christians, okay? You watch someone buy a chicken sandwich. You watch them eat the chicken sandwich and enjoy it. And then you follow them home, and outside of their house, you start a protest and say, down with this person, they ate the Christian chicken sandwich. Or you go to their place of work and you start Did you know that someone inside that building ate a Christian chicken sandwich? Like, what? What are you talking about? That's how these people act. Someone came to Phil's stream, tossed him $5 because they like his content, and then they went about their merry way in the rest of their life. And then you left the stream and followed them to their social media, to their personal accounts, to their real life content, to their real life stuff. And you harassed them because they donated $5 to Phil. What? But I'm the one who's crazy. I'm the one who's in the wrong because I make content, because I stream, because I enjoy my life, because I like games, because I hang out with people. I'm the problem? No. Sorry, you've exposed yourselves. You're the fucking problem. You're the weirdos, not me.
I won't deny that sometimes trolls online go too far. That's how trolls are online. Sometimes the gay ops get really gay, but more often than not, when it comes to DSP fans and supporters, you don't have to go that far. That's why his Chick-fil-A comparison isn't apt. You don't have to follow these people home or stalk their movements. They have public profiles with public information that they actively post on. Now, while I wouldn't personally go out to intervene in any real-life shenanigans because it's not that deep, some people don't feel the same way, which is understandable when people like Acidface and Derek were in DSP's community for so long. I would recommend, as DSP has in the past, to just not have personal information or incriminating style posts on public accounts. And please, do not horny post on main. It's simple internet etiquette things like this that could have avoided so much turmoil. But much like their master, it's everyone's fault but their own.
See, I don't know. Lorraine says, do you think it would end if you worked a random regular job, or does it end on the internet? Who knows? But again, these people are crazy stalkerish. Crazy stalkerish. You've seen some of the things that they've said and done. They've tried to intervene with simple things like, oh, I'm ordering food for an event, and they would try to mess with the store that I've announced that I'm going to order food from. You know, they literally try to intervene with real life stuff. You know, they've harassed people around me that literally have no association with me, just because they're in proximity to me in real life. So just think about that. You know, maybe if I were to quit and shut down everything completely, 100%, and say, I will not stream ever again, and I went out and I tried to have a real job offline, I bet people would still stalk. I mean, right. With Rings of Redemption, he tried to do, what was it, a DoorDash job, and they got him fired from DoorDash. You know, he didn't do nothing wrong. They just did what they could to hurt, because again, these people are unhinged. And this is what I mean. When you support these YouTubers who are doing toxic content, you don't understand that they are grooming an entire generation of people to be awful people. I'm going to repeat what I just said, okay? Because I think this is something important that people need to start calling out. This is very, very important that everyone understand this, okay? If you support toxic YouTubers who all they do is stalk and harass people, you are supporting people who are grooming a generation of people to be antisocial sociopaths. And you are telling everyone that's okay. If you watch that content and you support that toxic content, that all they do is hate on someone, they slander someone, they crap on someone constantly, you are telling a whole generation of people it is okay to behave like that. And it's not.
Why is he always so quick to assume that everybody in the world is as weak-willed as he is? So quick to take away other people's agency. People can make their own decisions on who they want to be and what content they want to consume, regardless of what celebrities are doing or promoting. Granted, some people don't, but they could. They have the choice. But even if that was the case, what specifically is wrong with making people think that it's okay to call people out on their bullshit like DSP? I wish more people got called out on their poor behavior and attitudes. Sometimes that's how people learn. Wasn't it DSP who needed Moist Critical to call him out specifically before he ever acknowledged maybe he begs too much? Now, obviously, he doesn't care about that. He's a proud e-beggar, and that's the thing with DSP. He doesn't want to behave better. He doesn't want to change and live with responsibility. He doesn't want to contribute to society or better the world in any way and make an impact. He wants to be a perpetual child in his snort fort, and he wants the world to leave him to his own devices. It just sucks for him that the internet doesn't really care what he wants.
What's going to end up happening, we're going to have an entire generation of people who are just sitting on the internet all day, antisocial, who are trying to ruin other people's lives. That's not good. That's not even acceptable. That's a societal problem that we're going to have to now tackle, because we have an entire generation growing up where all their social interactions are on the internet. They only have friendships. They only have these relationships with people on the internet. They don't even have anything in real life that's real. That's fucked up. You have to have that real life connection, that real life stuff, a real life of your own, friends and family and a job and meaningful stuff. You can't just sit on the internet crapping on people all day. And there's people that this is it.
I know Phil is not trying to tell other people that they need to go and get a job, have a family and friends while he leaves his house 52 times a year with no social circle in sight. It really is the pot calling the kettle, isn't it? And the most ironic part of all of this is that DSP's most prominent detractors are not only far more charismatic and entertaining, but they're also more successful in just about every department. They all seem to have kids or a loving spouse, friends they play games with regularly, hobbies that they enjoy in their free time. Meanwhile, this is what DSP has, screaming into a camera about people who don't like him, and it seems like the frequency of these segments is only picking up as of late. If you're a DSP detractor, you get to take part in some creative competitions and have all sorts of fun and interesting conversations about all sorts of topic across the many streams. If you're a dent head, you get berated for being poor and not supporting enough, all while the content that you enjoyed for years gets stripped from you stream by stream. Sound good? Sounds good to me. And by the way, categories. And for total transparency, I'm skipping the lawyer side Phil segment and going right to the end because I really liked what he had to say.
Nothing would make me quit content creation for good. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Okay? It's this simple. I will quit when I feel like it, when I'm well and good, when I'm ready and I make the decision. Okay? It's not going to be this person says I'm done or this, it's me. I'm the one who controls my destiny. All right. I'll be here streaming and making content for you guys every day until I feel so fit that I don't want to do it anymore. Okay. I'm in control. Nobody else. Or else, it would have been a long time ago when I would have stepped down and said, fuck this. It's not worth it. I'm not going anywhere.
Who is he trying to convince that he is in control, himself or his audience? No one has ever delivered that line like that and been in control. He just sounded so pathetic. But it's nice to get confirmation that DSP still intends on outliving the heat death of the universe as a talentless bum. I'm glad that his spite can continue to drive him so that there's at least one constant in the world. Speaking of the heat death of the universe though, this video is also coming to an end rather rapidly, but not before we do one member comment. And that one member is Youre the Problem, who says detractors have only made a big deal about him quitting games because he was so proud that he completed every game. If he didn't go on about it so much, I'm sure nobody would have cared as much. And that's exactly true, and something that I didn't even mention during the video. I feel like it's a classic lolcow trait to just make it obvious to everybody on the internet who's trolling you exactly how to get under your skin and all of the things that bother you. So because DSP mentioned it so much, because he made it a part of his identity as a gamer online, when that's no longer the case, of course your internet trolls are going to throw it in your face because you couldn't live up to the standard that you set and bragged on. But thank you, Sir Boehm, for bringing it up because I totally forgot to mention it in the video. Hopefully you guys come back for the next one. Till then, be safe. Goodbye.
Imagine tracking someone down at their place of business and yelling at them because earlier in the day they bought a ham sandwich somewhere. Who cares? You're right.